Hey, welcome back to another episode of Open Shutter, another Wednesday edition, and have the pleasure of welcoming Andrew back on the program. Andrew's been on a couple of times, so I think it's been a couple of years since Andrew's been on last. So it's good to have him back on and kind of share his knowledge and wisdom. We were just talking offline about kind of like the business behind photography, so I think it's going to be like a fascinating conversation. If you're coming from Andrew's side, you're just kind of stumbled upon this live and try to do this podcast as much as possible, connecting creators to creators, and just kind of talk about what we're doing, why we're doing, and where we're going with it. So if you make something, DM Open Shutter YouTube on Instagram. I'd love to chat and have you on. And Andrew, man, thanks for coming back on. It's great to see you, man.
Amazing, awesome. Thank you for having me.
It's been 2 years too long. So
been a while.
Yeah. Hopefully, it's been good for you in terms of like the photography space, and you're out there getting clients. I know that you wanted to talk about the client space a little bit more.
Yeah, there's many topics I have to talk about, and hopefully they're of interest to people. But I'm ready to answer your questions and go from there.
Yeah, for sure. So maybe for the people that don't know who you are, maybe just a quick intro, like about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Andrew Mussington. I'm a fitness and fashion photographer, I guess. Which I kind of pair that with doing headshots. I like headshots the most.
Okay.
I've been doing photography since about 2015.
So not that long, really.
Yeah, I got into photography to make videos of my son's lacrosse journey.
Right.
And then I figured I should learn my camera, and here I am.
And what a journey that's been, eh?
Yeah.
Did you ever think that when you're doing like your son's lacrosse would ever turn into this?
No, not at all. I didn't. I had no wants even to do photography other than that.
Other than that, eh?
Yeah.
So like what made you kind of move into like the fitness model space then? Like,
well, I was doing those, I was learning that to shoot my son there, and and then someone said, "Why are you shooting?" Then I was also doing landscape photography to learn how to shoot light with light. And so someone said to me, "Why are you shooting landscapes when you can shoot a model?" I'm like, "Well, how do you shoot a model? How do you get a model? Where do you get a model? Where do you find them?" And someone said, "You can go to workshops where they have models on display, and you can, pay a small fee and be part of that group and network."
Yeah. Okay.
And so then I started a fitness photo shoot at the production studio with a person named Emmanuel Perez, and he showed people how to light. And from then on, I tried to do my own thing.
Wow, eh? Shout out Emmanuel.
He's done a great job.
Yeah, is he still doing it?
Yeah, he actually just reopened his studio.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly where it is, but in Toronto, and it's called the production studio again. So he moved from the Dundas area, Etobicoke, to a little closer to Toronto.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, it's always good just to kind of learn hands-on, because you can watch all the videos and all out there, but until you actually like do it, you don't really know,
Well, yeah, and like you look at people like Emmanuel, and you say to yourself, "Wow, how did he learn light so well?" And then realize that to be a photographer, you really have to understand light.
Yeah.
And once you kind of master that, or you discover your own niche in lighting someone, then you go with that, and trial by error, all those things, and then you can understand light.
Yeah, interesting. What was like the hardest thing to learn about light, you think, in your own experience?
Well, there's the argument where you're what's the word? You're a strobist or you're a natural shooter.
Oh.
And so I kind of get into that argument from time to time with people, but the limitations are about lighting, especially because if you're a natural shooter, you can't shoot at night. So there's no light for you to use. So to stop myself from being inhibited, but from when I can shoot, I learned to become a strobist. So now I pair them both together to create my videos.
Interesting, man. Interesting. Yeah, I think lighting scares a lot of people, because there's just so much to know. Like, it's like, where do I start?
Yeah, it's you have people saying what rim light is and what I usually use two lights. Either it's going to be the sun if I'm outside and a strobe in front.
Right.
And then I try and take care of my shadows in that way. But again, lots of photographers are different, have different mindsets over that. I just, for myself, I generally love to have my subjects face well lit.
Mm,
And so if I don't want it, it's because I'm intentionally doing it that way.
okay. Interesting.
Uh, the reason
It's all part of the plan. Yeah.
the reason why I think I do that is because I want to be able to control light no matter where I am. So
Yeah.
trying to recreate those situations over and over and over again is a thing.
Got your Instagram up here.
Beautiful. Yeah. So
Research
for example, this picture here, that was
mm,
done in a hallway.
in a hallway.
In a
Like whose
hallway.
hallway?
Pardon me?
Like
It was
whose hallway?
it was a studio. It was a meetup workshop type of thing.
Yeah.
And this model here, I think I knew her 15 minutes at the time.
Oh, really?
So
Interesting.
lighting can be done quickly and effectively, I think. And
Okay.
then then part of my job too is to edit, of course.
Sure. Sure. Interesting, man. No, it looks good. How do you like we were just talking offline about like kind of like working together with a model. So
Yeah.
I know that you want to get into like the client side, like not sure where you want to kick off there, but maybe um
Yeah,
like where's the best place to find a model?
uh, I guess networking.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do the fashion shows and so maybe do some corporate commercial photography as well,
Yeah.
which needs models to deal with their products. But I think networking is the best place, and then having the ability to reach out. You look on Instagram, maybe that model is wanting to shoot. Maybe they want
Right.
to start a portfolio. Maybe they want to do some product photography.
Yeah, yeah.
Then you branch out from there.
Yeah. I
But
love
wait,
the shot, the zebra shot. I love.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. Projections, a lot of fun.
I love that.
Um, to do, I kind of do specialize in fitness. That's
Right.
where I've found a little niche, I believe, for myself. And also with that in mind, it's this like, a little more mature crowd. And
Mm,
so with that mature crowd as a client,
mm.
they generally would have more funds to be able to pay a photographer.
Right. Yeah. I know we were just talking offline about that, about like getting paid and all that. So like maybe I don't know, you want to share like some like tips and tricks or advice for people that want to get into like this line of work about making sure everyone gets paid. Like
Yeah, I think we all want to be paid. Everybody in this business wants to be paid, and you know what?
yeah,
We should be
yeah,
paid for those things.
yeah.
But being realistic though is very difficult to. I don't know. Some people may earn a living doing this. That's not my focus.
Okay.
But if it was, wow, it's not. It's a daunting project, I think. And some people are very successful, so I give kudos to those people.
Yeah, man. Like yeah, I mean, you don't have to make it a full-time thing if you don't want to. I think people have this illusion where it has to be like your chips are all in, and it has to be full time, but it doesn't have to be that.
hmm It's just it's kind of funny. Then it's not a full time thing for sure, but
Yeah.
wow, does it take up a lot of your time?
Of course. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know that, and we're all guilty of this, and we have models that we take photos of, and they're excited, and we're excited about the photos too. And 15, 20 minutes after the shoot's over, you get that phone call. You know, my photo's ready, and you're like, okay, I'm excited about them too. I need some time for them to cure in my own mind so I can go edit them later.
I
But
know, right? Yeah, like
you know, because it's excitable for sure, and you know what, we all, I think as photographers, we want our subjects to look as good as they can.
right.
So that's why I really like it when these my subjects or my clients will give me time to make sure that I can do as good a jobs as I can do.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do you get your ideas?
Pinterest is my friend for sure.
I think Pinterest is very undervalued,
Yeah, like
right?
a
People
picture's
don't really
1,000 words, right? Right. So I like to images are kind of powerful in many ways.
mm,
That the subjects look strong. Again, I do a lot of fitness, but fitness can be just beautiful. It doesn't have to be strong and super bulky either. It can be fitness people can be very feminine as well. And so I shoot men as well. Again, I want those images that are empowering in nature.
yeah. And how do you empower though? Like
Well, I just when you're taking someone's picture and they feel good and their confidence is brimming over, that's their own power. Right. So I want them to fall in love with their image of themselves.
Right.
So that's, I understand that, beauty's only skin deep. I get that. You want to put your best foot forward. I know when people say, yeah, I want to look natural in my photos. Well, to be natural in your photos, that means you probably have no makeup on whatsoever.
Right.
Right. To be truly natural.
Yeah.
So, you're there. My subject's there to look as good as possible, whether it's a product, whether it's their face, whether it's their physique, whether they're in a wedding dress. You want to look your best. And so we have to work together to get there.
Interesting. Yeah, you got to be confident. It's a confidence
and it's not easy to be, maybe it's your first photo shoot, or and part of the job as a photographer, and maybe the team, if you have a team, is to make everyone comfortable so you can get the best product out of them, right?
And how do you make someone comfortable, or can you?
Again, you're having conversation. I think the people that I've shot with, for the most part, I've probably talked to them for long periods of time.
Yeah, I think so.
Because you have to construct that idea, that general idea of what you're going to try and accomplish, and that takes time. And
and that takes time.
And yeah, it does take a lot of time. I think that when I do have a shoot with somebody, it's not truly my shoot. It's going to be our shoot.
Yeah, this is a photo that you sent. Yeah, so something like this.
Yeah, like I've known this person for probably 6 or 7 years.
Okay.
Fitness competitor. Again, very, very strong features. I do like strong features in the models I shoot. And if you even look at my page, you can see that a strong jaw is a thing for me. And so a strong jaw.
Strong jaw, yeah.
Strong jaw. So it just seems the way you turn the person's head, or the way you shoot the person, maybe by lens choice, that you can see that they their face structure is pretty, or is attractive.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, well, no, I mean, like, it does work. Like, like the photos do pop.
Well, and see, the thing is, like, again, this photo here was taken outside, and again, I'm a strobist. I know seems very strange to people, but shooting strobes outside in the daylight, it's such a different way to shoot. And people, like you said earlier, are afraid to shoot with this. But my thoughts are, some of the pictures you can get with strobes, you can't get with natural light.
No, you can't.
And there's a method to using strobe with natural light. Is basically you put your back to the sun, or the brightest object, put your back to that subject, and you flash the person from the front. And then it comes down to lens choice after that. Whether it's going to be, my go-to right now is a 105-1.4 by Sigma.
Yeah.
It's a very heavy lens.
Yeah.
But I just love that lens.
It's nice, eh?
Yeah.
You like Sigma?
I do. It replaced my my Nikon 7200.
Yeah.
And that was my go-to lens. I loved that lens more than anything. And then I had a small issue with I got some sand in it, because I do a lot of beach shoots.
You do, yeah.
And I had to get that fixed. And they said, you know what? The cost of repairing this is probably more than it's worth.
Yeah.
On a brand new, because I'm a Nikon shooter.
Yeah.
And the new Nikon Z lens 7200 is about $4,000. So sometimes you have to choose cost over what you really truly want.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
But then I got my Sigma 105-1.4, and I compared the two, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, these third-party lenses are on point now too.
It's getting so good, right? The gear.
Pardon me?
It's like the gear is getting so good these days.
Exactly. So to be, a lot of people are brand ambassadors for people. I get that. I am a Nikon shooter, and obviously Sony is spectacular. They're all spectacular now.
They're all good. Yeah. They're all good.
And the funny thing is, you talk about, I had someone say to me the other day, that they had a photo shoot with somebody, and they mentioned, "Oh my God, his camera was so good."
The camera was so good.
Yeah, and I laughed because
Wow.
the camera takes no pictures. It's just a photographer.
It's funny how people perceive it, right?
So, because that kind of negates all that work that photographer's ever done to get to where he is.
Yeah, if that photographer listens to that, I mean, I don't know.
Well, yeah,
You know.
yeah, because you're thinking yourself, "Wow, that camera's so good." Yeah,
Would
they're
you
all
now?
good.
Would you have said something if that was you and you heard that? Or you'd be like, hey, hang on a
Well,
second.
when the model told me that, I kind of laughed. I'm like going, "Wow, that's he, the person who you're shooting with. I hope that you appreciate his talent. That's why you're shooting with him in the first place.
Mm.
So that's more than his camera. That's my thought."
Yeah, it's a tough one, eh?
So
Yeah.
again, it's just that a lot of photographers out there put a lot of work in, a lot of effort in. Again, whether they're watching YouTube videos,
Sure.
whether they're doing trial and error in the street, they're just pressing their flesh as much as possible. And it is a journey of knowledge for sure, and we're still
Yeah.
learning every day. So
Yeah. You never not learn.
right.
Like there's always something, right? And I think yeah, I don't know. I think being in this space in like 2024, being a photo guy or video person or whatever, it's like, oh, don't I just turn up? I can just get my phone out and doesn't it do the same thing? So we live in a very saturated world, of just
Yes.
stuff. And I think people that don't really understand like the craft, they just kind of lump us into the iPhone or the Samsung phone people. And
Well, maybe our egos are getting in the way a little too, but for sure because
maybe, but
we are trying to do as good a job as possible too, and
yeah,
and I guess there's no real quick fixes for it, but a lot of people want to take that quick fix to get there, right? And but
yeah,
some
yeah,
it's like some of the stuff, like you look at some of the people you follow, or and you're like, oh my God, how come they're lighting like that, or how did they learn that, or how did they fall into that?
yeah.
And so by trial and error, by picking the brains of others, you're going to get all this information, right?
Of course, yeah. To me, it's like everyone knows something, and it could be so like basic, but you may not know it, and that could totally change your game. Like you just really don't know what people know until you ask them. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
for myself, I just want people to try, and
Yeah,
I know that I know we're quote unquote artists too, so we have a hard
yeah,
time getting
yeah,
direction from other people. But at times you're saying to yourself, "Wow, why? Can I try this? Can I do that? It's like say this
yeah.
picture
Why
here,
not?
this
Yeah,
picture here we're looking
yeah,
here.
yeah,
Obviously it's not obvious. Maybe it is obvious, but the pictures is flipped
yeah.
because she's on her back, right?
Right.
So it's just again, we were in a stream in Peterborough for this shoot,
Yeah.
and it was in dark day on the river there, and I used a strobe in the river.
Mm, good
Again,
choice.
I couldn't have got that photo if I didn't use a strobe.
Good choice. Good choice. For people that may not have a stroke, do you have any recommendations for people that
Well,
want to buy their
I'm a
first stroke?
Godox shooter.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I wish I could afford Pro Photo, but you know
Mhm,
what? I think you can do more than fine with these other builders or products.
mhm, mhm.
I think that just get comfortable. People use speed lights. I've
Yeah.
never used a speed light before,
Okay.
and I'm a strobist. It just
Yeah.
wasn't my choice because I believe that the light has to be off of the camera to
Right.
to be as effective, like
Right.
like like the sun is.
Right. So you want it as natural as possible? Is that what that is? That
Well,
approach?
so to do those, I have to balance the ambient light to get what I want, right?
Yeah.
So that's gonna be my struggle most of the time.
Mm.
Um, but again, if you do it enough, you start to learn very quickly how to adjust. And I think that's one of the biggest things about photographers is that you know you don't get to choose the environment all the time. So now
No.
what do you do?
Yeah. It's
That,
true though.
that's when you learn. That's when you really learn your how to use your camera, whether it's the f-stop, whether it's the shutter speed, whether it's
Yeah.
ISO, that triangle. You need to learn that stuff.
Yeah.
You need
Yeah.
to learn that stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like answering simple questions. If you increase your shutter speed, what happens to the picture? It gets darker. That's simple stuff.
Right.
Simple stuff. But
Yeah.
again, and so then when you're a strobist, you have to learn things like high speed sync and things like that. And people are afraid to learn that stuff, but it makes such a big difference in your photos.
Yeah, either afraid or lazy. Because we're getting to I think now we're getting to the world of I think we're not gonna separating people from being amateurs to pros. Where if you really want to learn it, you're gonna have to put in the time to learn it.
Well, I know when you do your walkarounds with
Yeah.
you have your walkabouts with the public and stuff,
Yeah.
and you're just shooting just so naturally, and people are using their imagination.
Sure.
Your imagination can take you many, many places.
Definitely.
And so in this, use that same imaginations with the gear you use. The camera might be great, but if you learn some great things too, you can make it do many, many different things as well.
Well, I think that's what takes the photo from a B+ to an A+.
And that's it. So
Right.
learning to edit. And again, there's lots of programs to edit things. And am I a Lightroom person? Yes. I'm a Photoshop person. Yes. Do I really want to understand what Capture One is and how that works? Yeah, I would. But I'm comfortable. I think I'm comfortable where I am. And again, with the new AI tools for Photoshop and all these products, I know that you can go many, many places with it. And I'm just trying to, I want people to recognize though, when I shoot or when I have a picture, wow, that's gonna be Mussington. I think I've seen enough of his stuff to know who that is.
That's the thing, right? I think that's when you've really kind of progressed, when people kind of see a photo and that's Andrew's photo.
Yeah, and
That's
again,
cool to me.
I don't have lots of followers, and I'm not really actually sure that Instagram is so much about followers anymore, because with the algorithms and all that stuff. Because if you really dive into the amount of followers you have every day, you'll be depressed.
Yeah, I don't even look at it. I don't even care, to be honest with you. I don't know.
Because everybody likes to have their content liked, though, right?
We all do. We're all people.
So
we all want that validation, but to me, it's I don't even pay attention, man. I couldn't even tell you. I don't know.
And I think what, honestly, that gets in the way of lots of people. I think because they're striving to have that content that everyone's going to love.
Yeah.
But doing that means that you have to work even harder to figure something out, and it should be more natural than that, right?
Yeah, I think if you're doing it for the external validation first, you're going to lose every time, because it's not. You're just talking about being artists. I mean, in the end, we all are artists, and artists typically make stuff for themselves first. Typically, that's what an artist is. But I mean, we're in this different realm now of just external validation, where you can't. If you do it for other people's approval, you're going to lose every time. That's just my personal opinion on it, because you can't control how someone else is going to feel about your work.
Well, and even with your client, you can't control how
you can't control
feel about themselves either.
You can't control it. You have, okay, now what? Now what do you do? Say the client's pissed off. Now what?
Yeah, it's
what do you do? What do you do? How do you reconcile that?
Well, I've been told before that you've edited me the worst I've ever been edited before. I'm thinking to myself, wow.
So what do you say to that though?
I'm thinking to myself, wow, I don't know what these other people have done that I haven't done, or did you want me to augment something, which I refuse to do? Do you want me to, I'll try. Again, I try to shoot as clean as I can. Why? Is because if I light you well enough, even for example, lighting somebody, people don't even necessarily recognize that if your subject is not well lit enough, you can't even focus on the person. Your camera won't focus.
Yeah.
So all those people don't know those things. So I try to, even in my photo shoots, I try to talk to people about understanding their lights, and the malls you want to work with are the malls that can find their light. Because if they can find the light, half your battle's done.
So that they're lit properly, you mean?
No, so say they're in it's really sunny outside, the person can turn to that light source so they can be illuminated properly. That's half the battle, because then the pose leads from that.
Yeah.
So Again, I don't know how many models I've shot or had photo shoots with, but it's definitely fun all the time. I like to shoot the same models over and over and over again. Again, that comfort level gets there too.
Yeah, because they know you and you know them.
They know,
So
yeah,
you're
they
just
know,
friends. You're just hanging out, having a
yeah,
good time.
just hanging out, and
Easier.
that's what the
Easier.
best shoots are. No pressure, just fun. Experiment with lighting, locations, all those things. Because
Yeah.
even when I do a photo shoot, I'm looking to probably do 8 to 10 looks at a photo shoot,
Okay.
and I like numerous locations at the same time. So if you do 10 looks, we're probably going to do 3 or 4 locations as well for the shoot.
Nearby in the same
Yeah.
area.
Mhm. So, because studio, obviously, but with some of the studios today, they're so varied. I just shot at Icon Studios the other day,
Yeah.
and it was just beautiful place,
Nice.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And there's Miles Studios, there's Studio Bon Soleil. People like
Right.
studios like that. They've been around a long time, and why is because they're catering to their clients. They're either setting up new locations within their locations, setting up feature walls, props, all those things are being included.
Yeah.
So you want to shoot in those type of venues, but again, those venues are not cheap,
Right.
and that's another battle we talked about earlier today
Yeah.
about the industry. It's not cheap. Nothing's cheap today, and neither is our favorite pastime, photography.
Yeah. So what do you do? Like, how do you kind of get around that?
It's I think it's hard because again, you need to do you want to you want to collaborate. Collaboration still costs money.
Collaboration costs money. Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
The average studio I just talked about, probably $100 to $125 an hour, right? So that means then that if you have a model who wants hair and makeup done, do they get their hair and makeup done at the venue or at their own place?
Right.
Why? Because you're trying to cut costs.
Yeah.
And again, what's the end game for those costs? Like I think we've talked about being published. We talk about being published, and a lot of people are striving for that. And you know what? It does feel good to be published,
Sure.
and it is great to be published. But at the same time, what's our benefit for that? Whether it's a picture that could benefit us, or pay down the line, because publishing has changed dramatically in the last 20 years.
Yeah. You're talking about the photographer's benefit or the model's benefit?
For all involved.
Everybody's benefit.
Yes, everyone benefit. Because again, we do a lot of, people do a lot of shoots where they are the collaboration shoots because they want to get published.
So that is the intention.
That's the intention. Well, the cost to get that thing published. So my issue was this, and this was brought to my attention. I was a person who wanted to be published all the time as well. But the issue that came to my mind was told to me was this: you spend all that money trying to get that picture together with that team you have, and then you have to buy your own photo back. That's a very interesting thing, isn't it?
Well, it just seems like it's a money making scheme.
Which doesn't benefit.
Which doesn't benefit the people on the photo side. It benefits the mag.
Because, can you imagine you have a team of 5 people, and maybe each of those 5 people want to be in that magazine, to be named in that magazine.
Yeah, they want to be named. Yeah, of course.
Right. So now you spent the cost of the studio, the cost of the wardrobe, the cost of the makeup artist, the cost of the photographer. I'm just saying it's getting kind of odd to have it be done that way. Because what's our benefit? Could we get some pictures? But where can we even find that magazine? I've been lucky enough. I've been published internationally, like many people have. But I've been inside fitness. At least I know there's a run there. I can actually go to Walmart and pick that magazine up.
Yeah.
But for many of these publications, you can't find them. And the only place you can find them is if you go to where you're told to go to get your magazine, where you can download a digital copy or have a printed copy mailed to you for a fee of $30 American is pretty going rate now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, doesn't seem the best outcome.
Well, no, like again, I think being published is a great thing, and you know, and like I think it is good, and you see many people posting, you know, I just got published, I just got published,
Yeah,
and you know, as you know, I created my own magazine once before too.
you
It is
did.
very time consuming. It is very time consuming. I understand how that works and the kind of programs you need to make those things, and you know, to produce those things, maybe with that knowledge, it's nice to know, but you know, being published is a thing for sure.
But again, if people are doing that for the intention of being published, I think people are losing the sight of why they're even doing it in the first place. You know?
Well, again, I think people love to, you know, if you're on the cover, like I'll give you, as I said on the earlier today too, is you know, some of these magazines will email me and other people, obviously photographers, and say, you know what, if you want to be at the cover of our magazine, it'll cost you $200. I get those emails all the time.
Do you? So do you like respond to those or?
No, I just say, I'm thinking to myself, why am I paying $200 for a cover of my own photo?
Yeah,
Because the people getting those magazines are the only people get seeing those magazines are the people in it.
right,
So
right. It's not like
it
you're going to Walmart to get the magazine.
right. If you're in that magazine, there's 50 people, you know, 50 models in the
Yeah,
50-page magazine, 25 models maybe. Um, each of those models is paying $40 to $50 for that magazine,
sure.
right? And so
Interesting.
again, you know, I think you know there's magazines obviously that do go to stores like I said, Walmart's and Shoppers Drug Marts stuff like that. That's amazing to see yourself in front of those for
Of
sure,
course. Of
because
course.
you know you're Canada wide.
Of
I think
course.
that's more that's a better thing I think, right? But if you go to these self publishing places
Hmm.
or these print on demand places,
Yeah.
those are lucrative for the business person, not for the people involved.
Do you think they're taking advantage of us in terms of us wanting that validation? They're just taking advantage of the creator wanting their name on the mag, and it's okay. Well, pay up and you'll get it.
Well, yeah. Again, you know, you look back at you know, look back at these runway models, you know, of the past. How come those Victoria's Secret shows aren't there anymore? Why? Is because they realize, I believe, that well, the whole premise about why models are getting paid so much is because their likeness was being sold, so they had
Yeah.
contracts for that.
Right.
Today, people have lost track of that because copyright seems to mean little or nothing today,
Yeah. It does, doesn't it? Which
right?
is sad.
So with those copyright laws involved, you could say, you know what, that's my likeness. I deserve to be paid for that. Today, um, everyone just wants to be published because they want their 15 minutes of fame extremely quickly,
Yeah.
and people are doing anything to get it today.
Yeah. Which I think people will lose in the long run because you're not doing it for the art. You're not doing it for
Well,
the
as you know,
photography.
as an artist, a creative yourself, coming up with concepts to shoot, to
Yeah.
ideas, that's a daunting thing. So,
It
you know,
is.
and I know that, you know, myself, I go through bouts where I'm like, I want to shoot something different. How can I change what I do?
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and
Right.
should I change what I do? But again, I guess it's just a growing
Why?
process. Though.
Why? Well, why wouldn't you change what you do to
What,
grow as an artist, as a photographer?
what would I do?
Yeah. Like what would you do?
Well, things like again, I think lens choice is a very important thing. I
Mm,
started actually trying to shoot with a 20 mil,
okay.
um, but shoot a model with a 20 mil in an environment. So now you're shooting stuff like where you know you have tall buildings beside the person. Sure, there's some distortion for the 20 mil,
Mm-hmm.
but now it creates some very different looks for photos.
Mm.
Like you went to the well the other day. I saw you
Yeah.
online. Went to
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
well. I
Yeah. Yeah.
can't. I can imagine shooting a model, looking upwards at that model, and seeing all that network of.
You should do it. You should take a model there.
I haven't been there yet. I haven't been there yet because it's been so cold. But maybe I'll get that there this
You
year.
should do it. Yeah. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Lots of places to shoot there.
Exactly. So in that whole little area there, you know, you have the that bridge which is just
Yeah.
across the street from the well.
Yeah.
I've shot there numerous times. I shoot there at night all the time, and
Great bridge. That bridge
right-
is famous.
and then there's that little red piece of artwork right beside the bridge too.
Yeah.
which I shot there last summer as well. And you know what? You get some really good looks there. And again, using architecture in your in portrait photography, something different,
Mm.
right?
You're
Because
using the the architecture to complement
yes,
the
yes,
photos.
because sure that the subject is there, but if you can surround that subject with other artworks or other things, you're building more depth to your photos,
Right.
right? Like you don't have the person be the sole part of the picture. If
No.
you can, like it's like doing a beach shoot. You want to see that sunrise or that sunset behind the person, right? You
Yeah, you
want that.
do.
So if you can incorporate buildings or architecture into your photography, again, or because I'm sure, I follow people. You remember Brian?
Yeah.
Um, Again, I follow him, and I wish I'd see more of his street photography. But
Yeah.
again, seeing his street photography made me want to think of shooting people in the street. And if
Yeah.
you have worked with me before, you
Yeah.
would know that I like being kicked out of places,
You do. Eh?
go stations, parking lots. You get moved out of there. Why? Because you're trying to create things in those places because
Yeah.
those photos look even better than in studio, in my estimation.
Because there's more of a story to it. So
Hmm. Like
yeah.
having doing a photo shoot in the middle of the street is a thing.
It is a thing with like what live traffic.
Live traffic, all that stuff, because you get photos that are one-offs, and that's important.
Uh, to me, that's cool having like a one-off photo where you can't
Yeah,
duplicate it.
you can't duplicate it. The thing is, but say as a photographer, one thing I do like to do is, you know, I'm sure you've done this before too. If you walk somewhere, you can sometimes see the light you've seen before. You're like, I've been in this location where the light's like this before. I'm
Yeah.
going to try and pull off another shot, and you
Ah,
can get it. And so, as a photographer, I believe if you can do that everywhere, that you must really know your craft very well.
yeah. Yeah. I think it's important to be present too, like what's going on around you to kind of like be able to like get to that level, kind of just being like hyper aware of like your environment.
Well, what I did this summer too is, I saw it on TikTok as well, but they
Mhm.
had it where a photographer would just ask random people to shoot walking
Oh
down
yeah,
the street,
nice.
and you sometimes you do get some no's. You did because the people thought you were kind of weird, but again, I walk around with a lot of camera equipment. Like, I walk around with a cart generally, because I have strobes, right?
Yeah,
So I
love
would bump into some people, and you know what? I did get a lot of good feedback and a lot of good photos of just random people who
yeah,
posed for me. Whether some of those people were artists themselves, whether they're doing graffiti, which I noticed a few
right,
people doing.
right,
Again, they're artists straight off the cuff. They just see an area and they just shoot there. And so
yeah.
you can shoot random people like that too.
So what was the feedback that you got from some of these people?
I think I've had um, renewed shoots with them, like done multiple shoots with these people. Um, yeah, it's just a lot of fun, like and
It's the energy thing. It's energy.
it's energy, and you know what?
Energy.
And with that, it's like, yeah, I can look good too with no preparation, and that's the thing about photography, which is kind of cool.
No
Again,
preparation.
no preparation, just go do your thing and see what you
Yeah,
get.
it's a rush though, eh? To do it that way.
Well, because when you show that person the back of the camera, they're like going, "Is that me?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's you."
Yeah.
That's simple, very simple.
Mm.
And again, like, what excites me is to be able to be put in those situations and not know what I'm going to do, and then get something good. Because again, that's why you know
Mhm.
your gear. So when people are talking to you, when people say your cameras is a great thing, you're like, oh, yeah, it is a great thing.
I'm good too, though.
Yeah, I'm
But
good
I'm good
too.
too, though.
You know,
Don't worry good about me.
again, when they see that
Yeah.
my Sigma 105, which is a very wide, big lens, very
Right.
big lens,
Right.
people will say, "Wow, that's kind of crazy." And
Yeah.
when I shoot with that lens,
Yeah.
I'm able to get some spectacular separation from the background.
Right.
And again, I'm a strobist. I have my strobes with me all the time,
All the time.
all the
You
time.
don't leave your home without the strobes.
They're in the trunk of my car
All the time.
all the time,
That's
right?
commitment.
Right. And so people's like again, shooting beach photo shoots. I say to people all the time, I see some photographers who's shooting their beach and it's all natural light. I go, they're that's great. And then I show them what I did with my strobes, and it's like it's such a
You
different vibe.
you convert them. You convert them on the
Well,
spot.
I don't know. So because sometimes people don't want to invest, right? But
Yeah.
because you have to invest again. Why am I a strobist? I've watched so much YouTube and so many photographers, and I try and glean some information from as many people as I can. And
Yeah.
when I do that, it's like, wow, let's just use this little angle. Why do I even use a 20 mil? Someone instead of using it for real estate photography or astrophotography,
Yeah.
use it for a photo shoot. Okay,
Yeah.
what do you get?
Yeah.
Who knows until you try?
Well, I think that's the key to everything. You don't know until you try. Don't be afraid to try it and to invest and to learn.
Well, again, it's another
Huge.
tool in your toolbook, in your right, in your
Yeah.
toolkit, right?
Yeah.
So I think a toolbox. I think that doing that makes it a lot of fun. Makes it a lot of
And
fun.
it's so important to have fun, right? Because I think it's if you to me it's like if you constantly do the same thing over and over again with no change, it kind of gets boring a little bit. No, you gotta
Well,
like
yeah,
mix it up a
and
little bit.
that's why if you can do the fashion show stuff, like some of the fashion shows, there's some amazing artists in Toronto and around doing fashion
Mhm.
shows. Whether it's gonna be the models, whether it's gonna be the makeup artists. Because when I go to a fashion show, I know people want to take the full form of the person.
Yeah.
And I think to myself, when I'm at the fashion show, there's going to be 25, 30 other photographers doing the full body.
Yeah.
I'm going to focus on that torso, right?
Mm.
Again, I wanted torso and head. Why? Because I want to showcase what the makeup artists are doing because those guys don't get enough love themselves. Makeup artists do a
Yeah,
lot of work behind the
shout out to
scenes,
the makeup artists.
and
Yeah, they
they
don't get
do
any love, do they?
they do not get the love that the
Why
model.
though? Why is that? Just just the way it's been, or
I don't know because a fashion show. I don't know if many people know what the day of a fashion show looks like, but it's a very long day for the models.
yeah.
And the makeup artists are there too, hand in hand working on that stuff. As a
Mhm.
photographer, unless you're doing behind the scenes, I don't want to be there for that. But
Yeah.
because we're so focused on the end product, right?
Yeah.
But that end product, like our photography journey, is full of a lot of hours learning stuff. And those makeup artists spend a lot of hours, a lot of money with their own products at these events doing these
Yeah.
things. But who talks to them about that?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Nobody, I guess.
Nobody.
Weird though.
Yeah,
Strange.
yeah. Again, like there's so many moving parts in this industry, and it would be nice if they could all get the same credit, but they don't.
Interesting. Well, someone should change that.
Well, again, there is forums and people do have podcasts like yourself here, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
hopefully people can learn and listen. And not everything I say is gospel, but from what I've learned or what I've seen is that you know there's a lot of people who could say they're underappreciated in this industry, but
Yeah.
we're all trying to get to the same goal of an image that is worthy of being looked at, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. It's a team. It's a team effort.
It is a team,
Yeah.
yeah, and I guess it's hard to differentiate the parts to get to the end goal
Yeah, man.
because
Crazy. It's crazy. It's just crazy how it's just like it's not gonna get slower. It's gonna get faster. Like just like the whole like
yeah.
photography space is gonna get faster and more complex with like AI and all that stuff. Like who knows where it's gonna be in 2 years.
I don't like. Yes, it is moving very fast, and also like you said with the technology for the cameras, even like some of like it's almost like I say it like this. The TVs we buy today, it's got
Yeah.
the QLED TVs,
Yeah.
and that TV though we only use like 5% of what it's capable of doing.
100%. I don't even
So
know what it
why
does
why are we spending so much money on that stuff for then?
because it
I'm
looks
just saying,
cool, man. It looks
I
cool.
want I want the cool stuff too, for sure. But like for Nikon, say I wanted a Z9,
Yeah.
I just can't afford $6,000 for a new body.
It's a lot of money.
I have a Z6 too, which I have. I think, you know what? I thought I went from a D750 to which is DSLR to a
Yeah.
Z 6 II, which is a mirrorless. Um, and the jump I made there, I thought was a very significant in both
Mm.
cost and what it can do. I love my Z6 II. I love my D750. I guess they're two different genres or eras of cameras, but I guess the most important thing is learn how to use a camera, period, because sometimes they'll just give you a camera to use. What are you going to do?
Pray.
Well, again, I know say Nikon and Canon, basically everything's reversed, but
Yeah.
at the same time, but again, why do I know that? I've had a Canon in my hand before,
Yeah.
right? So again, you have to learn these things about what we're trying to do, and try to get the best product or best images that we can.
Yeah, don't use the gear as a crutch. Like, understand the gear. Like,
Mhm.
don't make it work for you. Don't, like, understand, like, what it's doing for you.
Yeah, like, and I know we have to test and all those things and practice with our cameras, and you know you buy a new camera and you're doing a photo shoot right away, and you're frustrated because you can't get that focus. That's a very uncomfortable situation to be in,
Yeah,
because as a photographer we have to perform.
of course.
If we don't perform, that's bad for business.
It is.
So if you don't, so if you go to a shoot and you don't know how to use your gear, what's that saying to the model who's in there before you,
You're not prepared, bro.
right? And
You gotta be
and
prepared.
and you want to be prepared all the time,
You
which
gotta
is
be prepared.
impossible. So my thoughts are, if I can put myself in bad situations and still come up with some good stuff,
Yeah.
that's where I want to be.
That's that's hashtag winning, bro, right there, man.
So
You give me any situation, don't worry, I'll make it work.
yeah,
That's the guy I want to hang out with.
well, again, I don't know if I can do that all the time myself, but I try. I think if anyone has shot with me, they just would say that, wow, he tries to figure out lots of stuff.
Bro, you know what you gotta do? You gotta do a photo shoot during the eclipse.
When's that, Monday?
Monday the 8th.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know how
Do a
that would
photo shoot
work.
during the eclipse, bro.
I don't even. So I have to do some research on how to do that. But yeah, maybe.
That's like the ultimate, man.
Hmm.
Imagine you're the eclipse guy.
Yeah, I'm thinking, what would I do? Okay, how long does it last?
Like 4 minutes, maybe five. I don't know.
Hmm.
Imagine though, like during a friggin' total solar
I'm
eclipse,
just
you're
thinking,
doing a photo shoot. You're doing
how
a photo shoot during a solar eclipse.
can you imagine the long exposure on that? I'm sure lots of guys are going to be doing some crazy stuff with that.
Yeah, but bro, you're gonna do like a model shoot. You should do like a model shoot during the eclipse. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah. Hmm. I
Even
never.
go on a beach somewhere where it's gonna get and just do it
Yeah,
there.
but April 8th is probably going to be 5 degrees, and you know
I hope
people
not.
will be complaining. So I don't want to freeze people either. Even though the coldest I've ever
Eh,
shot at is
Even
0
for like
degrees.
10 minutes, just 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You're out, you're in. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'll have to pair that with a real shoot though, so
I
you don't
guess.
want to shoot
Yeah.
for 10 minutes.
But this is like
Yeah,
this is like once in a lifetime event. If you don't understand, that's your pitch, man. This
I
is
guess
once in a
again,
lifetime
I'd
event.
have to really research how to do that, or what I
Yeah.
would want from
How
that
would you
photo.
do it? So this is what
What,
I mean. Now
what
we're
is
like getting into like next level territory.
April 8th?
April 8th
Yeah,
at like 3:20 or something like that.
yeah. Maybe it'll be downtown then. Let me see
Maybe.
here. April 8th. But
Hmm.
let's see, it's a Monday. Yeah,
It's a Monday.
the Monday. Um, that could be very interesting. I
Wouldn't
don't.
it though?
Again,
But imagine
again,
that for your portfolio. Eclipse portfolio.
right? I have street in there, so I don't know
You got
what I've got street in there. I do boudoir. I basically shoot as many genres as possible. I do even have some wedding stuff that I've done.
Hmm.
I kind of don't want to do a lot of weddings in many ways, because
How come?
I know there's I just don't want to miss that moment.
A lot of
And I don't
pressure.
know. Pardon me.
A lot of pressure, you think?
It's a lot of pressure. A lot of
Yeah.
pressure. But
You can do it though.
I just think that no, I think I can take the pictures, but I think to myself, I want to have more from the client. I want them
Mm.
to the imagination is hard to do,
Yeah.
with what's going
Right.
on, and I think I want that um, kind of pull on the situation.
Mm.
I'm not saying I want to be in control all the time, because you can't, but at the same time, in a wedding, you have to make sure you have the first and second shooter have to be doing their job the best that day, and I don't want to be able to miss anything like that.
No, no. Yeah. It's a tough conversation to have if you miss something.
I know those are very long days, and I have done the grooms before weddings, and I've done the brides before weddings, and all that stuff too, and those are great days for sure.
Yeah.
But a wedding, being the number one shooter at a wedding, probably not my thing.
I guess that's why they get paid so much, just for like the stress.
Well, yeah, but my thoughts are is you also need great photos. So, like, and also with the way things are too is, we haven't really talked about money and how things work for pay these days, but
Yeah.
um, people want what they want, and they want a big they're paying a big buck for it. They
Yeah.
should get what they want. They should have
That's why.
really good
Yeah,
photos.
of
Yeah,
course.
if you're getting mediocre photos, that's a painful thought.
You ever gone online, just Google bad wedding photos and just see some outrageous stories on Google? Just some outrageous stories, man. It's good for a laugh.
Well, see, like I can't even imagine. I wouldn't want that. Like,
Outrageous.
like you could say lots of things about the photographer, but I just want them to say, you know what? At least he gave me good photos.
Yeah, at least you
You
get me
know,
good photos.
because like every person you talk to is not. You're not going to gel with everybody you shoot. You
Yeah.
try to as much as possible. You try to satisfy them as much as possible, but even that is getting more and more difficult too.
Why do you think that is, though?
Because we're human beings. We're very demanding.
Mm.
We demand what we
But are we
think.
demanding because we're paying?
I
Or
would
we feel
say,
entitled? We feel entitled to it because we're paying.
well, so that's the thing. Whether we want our 15 minutes of fame,
Yeah.
we demand, we want the best. But what is the best? Is like, like we in this day and age, we'll pay strangers instead of paying our friends. So how does that reconcile?
Yeah.
Like, you have lots of people who are bending over backwards for you, which you don't appreciate. You don't pay them.
Mm.
So, I think earlier we're talking about even paying models or paying photographers,
Mm.
and you know, it kind of got under my skin a little bit in the last year when one of the models I shoot said I never pay for a photographer.
Mm.
So what does a photographer you worked with? What does he get? I guess he gets photos. Is
Right.
photos or what do you call it? You might get some exposure.
I like
Exposure does
the
not
good old exposure pitch. Yeah.
exposure doesn't pay any bills.
To pay zero bills in 2024.
Like you said, everything is expensive, and you know what? Malls do deserve to be paid. There's no doubt about it.
Of course.
No doubt about it.
Of course.
I was approached by a mall the other day, 150 an hour, 4 hour minimum.
Hmm.
So where are you going to shoot?
Yeah.
So that photo shoot you're talking about is going to probably cost you almost $900. And
Yeah.
I'm just saying, many people do not even close to having that money to shoot.
No.
Right? So they do the meetup thing, which is can be good and fun. Um, you know, so the tact I would do for myself is I'd rather work one on one with a model or one with a makeup artist, whatever,
Mm.
and get the job done that way. At
Right.
least the consistency. You're not as a photographer, you know. Truth be known, I don't even like shooting two people on the same set. Why? Because it distracts me, and also when I go to edit,
Yeah.
now I'm editing two different people on the same shoot. It gets difficult
Mm.
for my process.
No, it kind of makes sense, actually, to be honest.
Well, and even when you have to send the photos to the subject, now you're instead of having one subject, you have two to discern,
Yeah.
and you don't really send pictures to the other person either by making
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think about the whole model being paid or photographers being paid?
I think everyone should get paid. Everybody should get paid. We're like we said earlier, it's a team thing, right? So
Mhm.
everyone's as equal on the project. So
Yeah,
to me, it's like everyone gets paid or no one gets paid. I don't know, how to
yeah,
even
it's tough. It's
describe
tough.
that.
Like even I'll give you an example, and I don't know if I'm stepping on your toes here, but
Yeah,
so when fashion shows,
yeah,
wow, fashion shows there's some very long days,
yeah.
and you know they're very expensive things, and a lot of people are not being paid for what they do.
Mm, that's crazy. To me, everyone should get paid.
Pardon me?
I think they should all get on an actual fashion show. It's
Well,
crazy
yeah.
they're not getting paid.
You're like, how's that
Crazy.
work?
It's crazy.
you know, and you know,
but people are willing to work for free, essentially.
I don't know if they're
Right?
willing to, really wanting to, but again, with the expenses of things today, like I don't know what so if you were at a fashion show for 8 or 9 hours, 10 hours, maybe 8 or 9 hours, that's work, right?
It's work, yeah, of course.
So, you know, and I think that today, in today's economy and stuff like that, we are not. We need money. People need money.
Yeah, people need to
It's
get
just,
paid.
and again, but maybe we were thinking that our that 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 fame's going to come to them very quickly, and so they're going to make a lot of money.
Right. Yeah, but it doesn't
Maybe.
happen that way. No, but it won't happen though.
Well, it happens. It seems to happen to some people. So maybe we're just holding on to that dream and saying, that could be me.
Yeah.
But not know, but understanding that there's so much work out there to do to get around to see all these people and to make those contacts as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to me, it's like if you want to make it like a business for yourself or a side hustle or whatever, then you need to understand what you're worth and be willing to say, well, this is what I'm worth and stand up for that.
Well, yeah, and that's a very interesting thing too. Is like you like knowing your worth. You say to yourself,
Know
"Wow."
your worth. Like, what are you worth? Right. Like,
Mhm. But sometimes you state what you're worth. People say, "Oh, that's too expensive." So
but that's,
that just means that that client, that person, is not your client.
yeah. Well, that's, I mean, yeah, I was just watching like a podcast the other day about like just how to knowing how to price yourself. It's like there's a million fish in the sea. Don't get so caught up in working with that client. They reject you. Just move on to the next person.
Mhm. Because maybe they don't see your worth, and that's their loss.
Yeah, because the flip side is if you do the project for less, that's you're going to be pigeonholed for that price range.
And that
And you're very hard to get out of.
client respects you less.
Of course.
And it's ironic. The people who don't pay you are the biggest pains.
Always. Always, man. I know. I've seen so many Instagram reels about that where like project X is $100,000 and it's like the message is like payment's been sent, and then project B is like 10,000 and it's like a list of items to like fix. I'm like, yep, that's right. Like
So yeah, again,
nickel and diming isn't good.
and like I said, and it's not sad, but it's just the way things are. That times are difficult. So are people paying for photo shoots the same way? Since COVID, I don't. Since COVID has been
Yeah,
a
sure.
whole new ball game after that too.
Mhm.
And I see many studios that are opening now, and they're beautiful studios. I'm just
Yeah.
hoping that AI can get to them to shoot them, and that they will be open long enough, because it must be very difficult. Because again, spring's coming,
Yeah.
and people don't want to shoot inside anymore.
No.
So and those studios that are working, are flourishing. Obviously, they're able to get corporate clients, commercial clients come in there anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a different ballgame now with AI about like you don't even need studio. Just we're gonna get AI to put in the studio for the
Yeah,
photo. And that's it. So
I've seen some podcasters who have redesigned the wall
yeah,
behind it to look like
it's
a
AI.
studio.
I
Yeah,
know. It's crazy.
say I don't know that stuff. I haven't researched that stuff yet, but
Yeah.
um,
It's
again,
gonna
I think photography is a lot to know, and with these new ways of doing photography, wow, I don't want to be left behind. But things are going very fast.
yeah, I think there's always gonna be the argument about like will AI take over content creation? And it will for some part, but I think there's still going to be space for actual people to do the work because you're going to need a human eye on stuff to get a
Well,
feeling, to get an emotion, to get, kind of that human touch.
yeah, but like they can, we have video games for a reason, right?
Yeah, I guess, but
Right? So those are created, and people love to play those. People are hooked on
true,
those things. So,
true,
hopefully we can keep this photography thing going. Like even with photography, I believe if you're a photographer now, you have to learn video now. You have to learn that.
sure you do. Yeah, you
You
do
have
have to
you
know
have to
that.
be a jack of all trades. And if
Yeah,
you're not willing to do that stuff, you're going to lose out on lots of jobs as well.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's to me, it's hard to be good at everything, right?
True.
Because you can't be good at every single thing because these are all careers for people. Like, talk about like photo shoot, like lighting is a whole career for someone. That's a career for
Yeah,
people,
it is. Right. Like,
right?
we take it for granted that, these lighting techs on movie
It's a
sets are
career
that's
for
a
people.
career.
It's crazy. You talk
Right.
about, you talk about makeup, you talk about props, you talk about, you want to get into video, you talk about audio, you talk about sound design. These are all like careers for people. So I mean, it's impossible to be good at
Right.
all different careers. It's impossible. You can't be good at everything. So to me, it's like focus on what you like and focus on what you're good at. And then if you get to a point where you can outsource and get people that are good at other stuff, then that's when you're really winning,
Well, I think that would be spectacular. I think that
right?
if you could find those connections to do that stuff and work
Yeah.
in that group, that'd be great.
Yeah, because you can't also like everything. Like you can't like sound design. Maybe you hate sound design. Maybe you hate audio. Maybe you hate whatever it is. Maybe you hate Photoshop. Maybe you got to get a Photoshop
Yeah,
course.
a lot of people hate editing, and my
Yeah,
thoughts are is I love editing. Why? It's because I get to take my picture to the next level,
of course, of
right?
course. So you
And
can focus on that. Yeah,
right,
exactly.
and so with my photo shoots, like I'm not a paparazzi shooter, so if I have a 3 hour shoot, say, maybe I'll take 300 photos
Yeah,
in 3 hours. I've heard of some photographers taking 12 to 1500 photos in 3 hours. I'm like, wow,
yeah,
like I don't know what you do with those, but and so what I would do is after take my 300 photos, I I put them on my Lightroom strip, and I go through each of them. And I know it sounds very tedious and crazy, but
mhm,
I love to edit. Why? Because every time I edit is another chance to practice.
yeah, yeah. It's true though.
So that's my thing. And again, does it take a lot of time? Yeah, and
But you like it though.
but I like it, and I
Yeah.
think that my clients or the people who I've shot with, um, they like the time I put in.
Well, because you care.
No, but yeah, but I think lots of people do care, but
Yeah.
you have to. It's almost like how they have the arguments about I want all the raws,
Right.
I want all the photos. Well,
I want all the raws.
you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
it's just what are you gonna do with them? Well, I'm gonna edit them myself. Well, you're editing someone else's work.
Yeah.
Are you going to be as good an editor as that person? Probably not. If you're
Mhm.
if you're that good an editor, you're probably taking the pictures. You're not the model, right?
Right.
I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
But again, I just think that, like you said, you can't be good at everything.
Can't be good
Try
at it.
try to specialize in what you're doing and let the other person take over that. Like you're not going to tell a makeup artist how to do their makeup, right?
No.
So
No, I know yeah, plus I have no interest in makeup. Like I have no interest in makeup. Like it's not,
mhm.
but you have to get someone into it and knows about it and cares about it to do a good job. So
Well, even this, like, a makeup artist might hate me for this, but I know a lot of models do their own makeup.
right.
And with a little lighting, so you add a makeup with good lighting.
Yeah.
That's a good formula
Sure.
right there.
Sure.
You know,
Exactly. And that's why you have people that know what they're doing so they can get to that level, right? Because
right?
you know,
Yes.
I mean that's my advice to people that want to get into the space and they want to take it wherever they want to take it. Like just focus on what you're good at and focus on what you like to do. And then if you can bring other people to help you, that's cool. Because
Yeah, like I just want the people who I shoot with to enjoy their shoot with me.
right.
I want them to have great products or great images when they leave. That's what I want.
Yeah, it's very simple, right?
It is very simple.
It's
You're
very
working for that.
simple.
That's the goal. Having great
Like,
pictures.
kind of like circling back to like it's just a very simple process and outcome that you want.
Mhm. And see, the thing is, if you're having a corporate shoot or a commercial shoot, I think that's a great thing to have 10 or 12 people in that thing. But wow, does it make the room small?
Yeah.
You're like, there's
Does
a lot
it?
of people in here trying to do our craft. That's pretty daunting too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You know?
yeah.
But
What are you doing? Take
yeah,
this is my job. This is my job.
yeah, the earring's not on there properly or something. You're like, oh,
Right.
okay, or can you Photoshop that? Can you remove me from the photo? You know, it's it's so hard. Like some of the issues that I do have as a photographer is I don't know. You know how a lot of photographers will give a gallery of photos, right,
Yeah. Mm,
and have the person pick.
mhm.
And I often wonder, why do you shoot with a photographer? a specific one?
Hmm.
Is it because you like his work, or what other reason is there?
Yeah. I don't know. What is there?
Because I think to myself, if you choose to work with a photographer, you're choosing his style,
Right.
his way of doing things. And if you don't want that way of doing things, you're probably shooting the wrong photographer, right?
Mm. So you're asking why send the gallery? Is that what you're
Yeah.
asking?
Why yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they just want to see everything.
No, 'cause I just wonder, like, I'm like, a gallery again, this is what the whole photo shoot would be.
Yeah.
But people say, yeah, so you send them the gallery of unedited photos,
Right. And are they
and
picking which ones they want?
yeah, then they pick what they want, right?
Yeah.
But now you have to edit them, so now the picture aren't the same anyways.
Yeah. Well, that they must know that they're not edited, right? When they're looking for.
Right, but so now
Yeah.
you're gonna go back there and edit a photo.
So now you got to go back to whatever and edit. And
Yeah, so then how does your imagination work then?
I don't know. I'm gonna blow their mind though. They'll be like, I had no idea that this was this. Yeah, I know.
Right.
Yeah,
So
you're
so
right.
it's kind of thing. I want all the raw so I can take a look at this, see
Yeah.
what ones I like, so then you can edit those ones.
Yeah. Why don't I just give you my camera too while I'm at it?
Well, no, I don't know if it's that bad, but like I hope that when I'm working with somebody or I'm hired by somebody, they're looking at how I do my work.
Well, I think you want the trust.
Hmm.
I think it's a trust thing, right? Like when someone hires you, they're gonna trust you to take the photo, not and just hey, Andrew's gonna do his thing, and he's gonna send the photos, and they're gonna be great. And that's
Yeah.
a dream. It doesn't always happen that way.
No, for sure. And maybe I'm thinking, hoping that it will be like that and perfect. But, but
Yeah.
again, my intentions are just to really have impactful photos that people are going to love and say, "Wow, you know, that was me in that photo,"
Yeah.
and
It's a great feeling.
be surprised and during that photo shoot feel really good and all those things like that.
Yeah, and then
That's
they're gonna
what
call you again in a year to
I,
work again
yeah.
because it's a
How
feeling, right? It's a feeling, like,
Yeah, how
people,
are we
like
gonna try and break the internet today? How why is that construction worker watching me shoot in lingerie in the middle of,
right,
Wellesley?
right.
Because we can,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Or,
Mm,
you're in Nathan Phillips Square, and everyone's watching you doing your little 5 minutes of photo shoot
yeah,
because we just walked through the neighborhood there.
yeah,
It's just so nice,
yeah,
you know? And so when you're walking through Graffiti Alley and you bump into someone you've never met before, you say, Do you want to shoot with me for 5 minutes or 15 minutes? See what we
right.
get?
Mm,
It's so nice doing those things.
that's cool, man.
It's nice. Do you get rejected? I think I was rejected 4 times this summer, but
Yeah, it's
other
okay.
than that, it was so free for all. It's great.
And then you see them again next time, it's like, "You
Yeah,
remember me? Remember me?"
well, yeah, I have shot other people, people I've done that with,
Yeah,
and still did that big turnaround with it. And you know what? They're grateful and they're happy with what's going on, and they're excited, and you know,
yeah, man.
you're
Oh,
looking for some things to post, some social media stuff. That's what
yeah,
you want. And again, does it help me? I think it helps me be able to talk to people,
mm,
right? Again, and all I'm trying to say is this is who you are, and you're bigger than that. By look at these photos, these are you, and you
yeah,
didn't prepare because you never remember before. It's just right there and raw,
that's crazy.
right? And
That's crazy. I
again,
love it. I love that stuff.
when I use the strobes, people are like, "What is going on with these
Yeah,
strobe lights? That's
yeah.
crazy. Why do you have these out? Why are you using strobes in the middle of the day?
You'll
Because
see. You'll
it's
see.
the best. Yeah,
You'll see.
exactly. Mhm.
Patience, you'll see.
I try, right?
Yeah, man, that's good. I think it's important to do that stuff and kind of like challenge yourself, kind of like do those kind of like a promptu photo shoot and say, "Hey, you want to shoot for 10 minutes and see what happens?" Because to me, that's fun. That's cool.
It's fun, but again, you still have that kind of pressure. You're like, okay, well, you want to do this photo shoot with me quickly?
Yeah,
Are you going to show
that's a
me some?
fun pressure, but it's a fun pressure because
And
that
so
person has no idea who you are.
exactly, and so when you show them the back of the camera, and they're like, "Oh
Yeah,
my god, that's me! How can we do that so fast? What
yeah,
does it do? What's it do for me? It tells me that I can shoot on the fly.
yeah,
That's all.
yeah. I think it's a fun pressure because it's just you're seeing what you can do.
Well, again, when you do your walkabouts and your group meetings there, and you're shooting at Burlington locks there,
right.
and you're right, and
Yeah.
you're getting some photos of the leading lines or the falcons in the sky there.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing every time? Every time. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I'm looking for. I'm looking for to, I started my whole journey shooting landscapes
Right.
and lacrosse, and I went to a wedding photographer and asked her to teach me how to shoot. And she goes, "Well, take your camera, go to the waterfront in Toronto, and try and envision a cityscape and try and capture a cityscape for me. Bring it back."
Yeah.
And I did that, and she said to me, "Cityscapes don't look like that."
Mm.
I go, "What do you mean? You're an artist. Aren't you supposed to make your own vision?"
Mm.
That was the last time I went with her.
Really interesting.
Right? Because cityscapes at night in black and white, they look pretty good.
Yeah, they look good. I agree.
So, you're shooting the waterfront of Toronto from Rebel nightclub area there.
Right.
It looks pretty good from there.
Yeah, it does. It does.
And the long exposure I was using. That's why again, that's how you learn your craft. Long exposures to
Right.
show, ISO. Again, all those things that command triangle.
Yeah.
You have to use that stuff to get where you want to go.
Yeah, I think that's just what separates people from like learning that stuff and investing and taking the time. Just what it gradually separates people along the path to, to where
again, like it's like the whole natural light thing. Again, if I have the opportunity to shoot natural light, I will shoot it too.
Sure.
But some shots you cannot get with it. So
no, you can't. And I think once people see the difference, I think people will be sold on. Yes, I will use strobes. I will, But.
Yeah, and I know it's an investment in time and money, but yeah, I think you still want to grow, and you grow into those things. Again, I haven't used a speed light before. I don't know why I've never used one.
Yeah.
Or I don't seem to understand it, but I just went in a different direction, and maybe that's okay too.
Oh, that's okay. Whatever works for you, man. I mean, everyone does their own thing. Whatever. There's no rule where you have to use a speed light.
Well, see, I think the thing is about, like you said, about the rules. You learn them, then you try to break them.
Well, yeah, you learn them and you break them, or you use them to your advantage, or whatever the case is. Because again, it's art. It's not science where 1 + 1 = 2. You just use it to make whatever you think looks cool for you or the client or whoever.
Mm-hmm. And again, I think that's one of the biggest selling points of shooting people or doing a photographer people is that people love to see their own image.
They do.
And when they're looking their best, there's no better feeling than that.
100%. It's the ultimate rush. It's the ultimate rush for that person because it feels good.
And you don't have to glaze them with how attractive or whatever they look. It's just that, what? Take a look at this. This is who you are.
Yeah.
This is your facade you're putting up front right now. Right. Again, beauty's only skin deep, I believe. But what I'm saying, this is who you're trying to portray yourself to be right now. You're acting. You're an actress in the movie. You're an actor in the movie for 5 or 10 minutes. Shine. Let's see you shine. Mm-hmm. That's all. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I'm in fitness, and a lot of people I've done photo shoots with have been on stages because of the competitive stuff. And again, those people, they don't have a lot of clothes on. They're being judged by these group of men in front of and men and women, I guess, from time to time. But you're saying to yourself, they're putting themselves out there. They work hard for their physiques, so they want to take some pictures of their physiques. And you know what? I'm lucky enough to be able to take some of those shots for those people and make them look better than they do on stage. That's all.
That's great. I think it's great. Yeah. I mean, why not, right? Like
all
that time and all that time and money investment, right? So it's all good, man. Mm-hmm. Well, we're up against the hour, so do you want to? Thanks again for coming on. Do you want any final words, advice?
No, just shoot lots. That's all.
Shoot lots. I like that. Simple but effective.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming back on, man.
Yeah, we'll talk again soon, I'm sure, and we'll try and work something out.
Eclipse photo shoot, man. Hopefully.
Send me some ideas. Wow.
I just came. I just thought of it. I'm like, that could be cool and different. But we'll see what happens.
see what happens for sure.
Everyone, thanks for watching, listening, wherever this thing is: YouTube, Google, Spotify, Apple, wherever this thing is. Andrew's stuff links are in the description, and go check him out. Give him a follow, and if you want to work with Andrew, feel free to reach out to him. I'm sure he'll be happy to talk to you. And,
thank you.
Thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Have a great night.
Peace.